You know, my mother used to say, a long time ago, whenever there would be any really catastrophe that was in the movies or on the air, she would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers, you know, even just on the sidelines. That's why I think that if news programs could make a conscious effort of showing rescue teams, of showing medical people, anybody who is coming into a place where there's a tragedy, to be sure that they include that. Because if you look for the helpers, you'll know that there's hope.
One day, after dropping off the workmen, Thomas was puffing away from the new harbour with Annie and Clarabelle. As he went along, he passed an airfield close by with a large hangar within. I wonder what that is for, Thomas thought aloud. Well, from what I've heard, that's for a new helicopter that the airfield bought from the mainland. Because of the new harbour, when people coming to the seaside, they thought it would be a good idea to have a helicopter here, to look out for people that might get into danger out at sea. But why have a helicopter? Surely there are people looking out to sea for any signs of distress. Well, that's always a good idea too, Thomas. But you can't just rely on people alone to go out to sea at times of distress, what with strong waves and currents putting them in harm's way too. So a helicopter has its benefits, replied his driver, but Thomas didn't think so. A few days later, the new helicopter arrived. Thomas had to stop at a signal close by the airfield after taking more workmen to the harbour. He saw the new helicopter. "Hello," he called to the blue tank engine. "I'm Harold. My name is Thomas. Are you the new helicopter?" "Yes, I am. My job is to help look out for anyone who may be in distress." "So I've heard," grumbled Thomas. "In my opinion, I don't see the need for such an oversized bird-like contraption when there are people who could do the job better." "Here now," said Harold crossly. "What do you have against a helicopter like me?" "I just don't find anything useful about helicopters." Thomas puffed away, leaving behind a very upset-looking Harold. It was a beautiful summer's day, and some passengers wanted to go out to the sea to cool down from the heat. One of the passengers walked along the platform to thank Thomas and his coaches for a pleasant ride. "Thank you, sir. I hope you have a happy day." "I hope so too," replied the man. "I'm going to be rowing today in a hired boat to a little island not far from here for a picnic. It's a lovely day, and the perfect weather for it too. Cheerio, Thomas." When Thomas left the station, he saw Harold, who was looking very concerned. "Thomas, I just heard from the forecast that there will be a storm coming from the mainland. You'll best get all of your passengers home soon. And why would that be? The weather is fine today. I don't need a stupid weather report from an oversized bird like you. Annie and Clarabelle were concerned, however. Thomas, you shouldn't brush off something like that. You were rude to not take Harold's warning seriously. The weather can be unpredictable, you know. You two are being a bit hysterical. There's no storm happening. Why, it's a completely sunny day today. Oh, hysterical are we, Clarabelle? Oh, no storm happening today, Annie, mocked the two coaches, but Thomas just ignored them. The wind blew fiercely across the branch line, and Thomas had to be careful in case of any fallen trees. He saw Toby at Dryall Station. How are you, Toby? Not too bad, replied Toby, but this storm is a misery. I know, sighed Thomas. There are more passengers waiting at the harbour station. I'm sure they're the last ones to collect. After them, everyone will be safe. Thomas arrived at the harbour station. There were lots of people waiting for him under the platform shelter. As the passengers got in, he then heard someone shouting, "Wait! Wait for me!" It was the man who had thanked him earlier in the day. His boat had toppled over earlier from the storm, and he was now stuck, holding on for dear life. Thomas was shocked. "We must help him!" he cried. "Is there a lifeguard around?" "I'm a lifeguard," replied one, and he quickly grabbed the boat and went out towards the man. But as he did, another strong wave came and toppled him over too. Now they were both in trouble. "Help us!" he and the man cried. Oh dear, thought Thomas. He blew his whistle loud and long to raise the alarm, as that was the only thing he could think left to do. Suddenly he could hear a buzzing noise. It was Harold the helicopter zooming over the bridge and out towards where the men were stricken. "Have no fear! Harold the helicopter is here!" Harold gently lifted the two men out of the water with his rescue rope and flew away back to base. Everyone on Thomas's coaches cheered for Harold as he made his way towards the airfield. Thomas felt rather silly after what he had said earlier to Harold. The storm cleared a few days later, and as Thomas passed the airfield again, Harold cried out, "What do you think of helicopters now, hey Thomas?" Thomas didn't say anything. He just puffed past him, keeping his mouth shut this time. And ever since that day, Thomas now knows full well that helicopters are very useful indeed, and that heroes like Harold should never be taken for granted.